Yeah, I started off. That's really how I got my leggings, I guess. I come from a pretty like religious home, so my mom, her main thing was like Sunday school. So like she every Sunday she was teaching my age group, which really just kind of put me and my brother in a position of like performing and doing like a lot of stuff in the church. So whether that was like performing poems or raps or songs, like that was really my weekends, and then that kind of just led to me gravitating towards the musicians, and music kind of became my thing. So like drums was the first thing that I picked up. I remember one Christmas, I was probably like 12 or 13. My grandfather, he bought me a drum set, and we put that down in the basement. And I know that it was probably difficult to sleep for probably a year after that. So like all my time kind of went into that, and from there I picked up keys, and from there I picked up guitar. And unfortunately, I wish that like throughout my teenage years up until now, like I had just like kept that as like a priority, and that would have really been my main thing. I'm kind of now just like coming back around to it and wanting to get back into it to make it like an actual thing. But yeah, bro, that's like really how it all started. And I think just like that early exposure to like not only music, but like gospel music and how it was structured, how it's composed, how it's put together, the songwriting of that, how all the music and all the instruments come together to create those songs. Really like, I mean, gospel is like a byproduct of soul, which is a byproduct of jazz. So really that just gave me an insight to all this other music that really just encouraged me to dive in. And from a kid, you know, my friends might have been listening to, Lil Wayne's mixtapes, and I was listening to Bobby Humphries and just jazzed out stuff. So I think that early like exposure to the music really had an influence on me at a young age. And now like I incorporate it every chance that I get, whether it is me playing along with the band or having a full band with me, or even just pieces of the band with me. It's definitely like really heavy and really present. At a certain point you get serious, or you're seriously around, like whether it's a studio or whatever, like there's a certain point that exposure kind of just makes you want to become serious about it. So for me, like hip hop didn't really come into the picture probably until like high school. Like everything up until that point, like I was doing like a lot of spoken word and a lot of like instrumentation over top of that. But like high school is like really when I like discovered the Commons and like really just dove into like the soulful hip hop, like the Roots, the Q-Tip and the Tribe, and like that's really like where hip hop started for me. And like even like the neo soul, like the Soulquarians, and how like they were able to combine like the soul and hip hop. Like that's really where like hip hop became like, oh, this is my sound. Like if there's a sound that I want to create, this is it. So like I started diving and really around that point, just kind of becoming acquainted with it. And that was kind of my goal, I'd say probably in 2016. I was going to this little college, and I had been performing, like I said, bro, I've been in the church since I was a kid. So I had been performing since I was about 5 years old. And I had a show in Detroit, probably as a high schooler. And there's a dude there, I didn't really talk to him, meet him, anything. I remember seeing him. And then when I got to my dorm at the college I was at, he ended up being my roommate. So automatically we clicked. He was like, yeah, I remember you performing, blah, blah, blah. We started chopping it up, and he told me that he was an engineer. The homie Drew, he goes by Will Drew. He became one of my closest friends and still a homie today. So at that point, we really just kind of dove in, and he had the Pro Tools and the whole studio set up. So like that was like my first like real exposure to like recording and tracking sessions. And it was I'm glad that my first experience was like the do-it-yourself. Like it wasn't in the studio, or it wasn't in like we had this grand setup or whatever, but here it is, just my homie in our dorm room using a closet that's next to the little space that we were tracking. And just seeing him do it himself encouraged me to want to do it myself as well. So I think recording with Will, just like my first year at college, was kind of like that, like real exposure to the studio, like setting or whatever. And from there, like I was able to record my first mixtape, and 2016 was really when like I kind of took it serious from that point. And from there, I've been able to work with a lot of amazing producers, or just people in general, where I've been able to take a lot from them. Young Heat is the homie. He produced a lot of my very first album. And I did all the sessions with him. So just going to his house, I would ask him so many questions just about like him mixing and like the process of him stacking my vocals and doing all that. But really I was just learning. So like kind of taking all those things that I've learned from just pulling up to random ass studios or whatever, or doing these sessions with the homies just at the apartments or at the dorm rooms, and being able to take all those little things that I learned and incorporating that to myself. So now I'm able to just, kind of go in and track everything myself and try to be a lot more independent. But really that just comes from being around a lot of people who are just do it yourself and just learning from them. Like I said, I started playing keys as a teenager, but it was all self-taught. So I would learn stuff from other musicians, from the music director, then otherwise I would just be sitting with my iPod playing and just trying to figure out chords and stuff by myself. So knowing that you have an artistic, a God-given talent, but you don't know the technical stuff. Without the technical stuff, a lot of times those resources that are in place, you don't apply for that. You can't fit into that. So even for me, I took up concert band in high school and failed because I couldn't read music. And they just stuffed me in a room by myself and I just played keys all day by myself. So a lot of times for students who might not have the technical aspect of it or might just have that interest in art, they still don't have those resources or those outlets. So being able to see that, I think, was huge. And it's more, it doesn't stop with just seeing the need or just seeing that something doesn't exist, but then also being able to organize and figure out what can I do to help out with that or play a part in that.